Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia and welcome back to Overwatch. My goodness me, it seems like such a long time since I did just a base Overwatch video, not an Overwatch esports video, not an Overwatch League video, just Overwatch. And the question we're going to ask in this video is, has Overwatch or the Overwatch devs or Blizzard turned a corner? Because as you might have noticed in recent months, there have been significant changes to Overwatch, what with role lock back at the end of last year. Then there's significant balance changes to move us out of Arista Sigma, and now we're looking at hero pools and stuff like that, which is going to really change things up, and then the experimental card on live servers as well, which is basically going to render the PTR defunct in a lot of respects. The past 5 months or so has probably seen the most major changes to the game since well back in 2017, 2016 and the game's launch. So what's changed? Because at BlizzCon last year, we were told about Overwatch 2. We weren't given a release date, but we said Overwatch 2 is in development and that's what we're going to be concentrating on. The devs said they were going to go quiet. But now, all of a sudden, we've got role lock, we've got hero pools, we've got changes to the PTR and the experimental card, we've got significant balance changes. The devs are more alive than they have been pre-BlizzCon, and they said they were going quiet. So, have Blizzard finally realized a problem with the way they were patching, the way they were communicating, and fixed it? That's the question here. And is the future looking brighter for Overwatch in general? So, let's look at this then, because I think some of the stuff that the devs have done in the past couple of months have actually been much more major than just a new hero. Now, there has been tons and tons of calls for just a new hero, and I understand that. We have, been in the same amount of heroes for quite a while now, back to when Sigma was released. And when you look at the hero launches, a lot of them have caused problems in the past. Look at Brigitte, look at Baptiste, look at Sigma. There's a lot of issues, and actually, when you go back real far, Anna was pretty OP when she was released. She was the whole reason Beyblade was so powerful, but that's going back a long way. So, I don't think we necessarily need a hero. A lot of people have been calling for Echo. We've had no update on Echo, whether Echo is going to come out before Overwatch 2 or be an Overwatch 2 hero that will be released with the game. Because obviously there will be a big hero dump when the Overwatch 2 gets released. Now, if I'm going to be brutally honest, I'm not expecting many hero releases before Overwatch 2, simply because I think they're just saving them all up for this big mega promo when Overwatch 2 releases. They've already said they're going to dump a load of heroes when Overwatch 2 releases. One of them will be Sojourn. So I think Echo is most likely an Overwatch 2 hero release, and I think we've had people like Malga as well. I think he could be an Overwatch 2 hero. It's going to be interesting to see what the devs do, especially when all this hero pool stuff blows over, because remember, we haven't even had hero pools implemented yet. So it'll be interesting to see what the devs do. I think they're just going to go a bit quiet on new heroes for now, and I'm not necessarily that upset about that. I think let's get balance. Balance is a weird word to talk about right now, but let's get the buffs and nerfs sorted. Let's get the problems with competitive sorted. Whatever you say, a new hero is not going to sort the problem with Overwatch competitive. What a new hero will do is bring an influx of new people into the game, or old people that want to see the new hero. And that could be an incredibly powerful tool to use before the launch of Overwatch 2, but when all these new systems are sorted out. You don't want to throw a new hero in when you're just introducing stuff like map pools, or hero pools, sorry. That could be detrimental to basically hero pools being introduced. So yeah, let's wait and see for a new hero. But let's get on to talking about what we've had recently. Let's not talk about role lock. We've talked a lot about role lock. Let's talk about hero pools in specifically, and the changes we're seeing coming in the next couple of weeks to a month. So hero pools is a massive change, and it shows a change in philosophy that we've seen from the devs coming this year, basically, because we got about 3 patches in 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, to shift us out of the meta we were in. And that is fantastic. That is something that the community has called for so long. Quick patching. Move us along. Get us different metas. Because no matter what you say, I will completely understand with everyone saying the meta gets stale. It really, really does. We were in GOAT for a long time. We were in Orisa Sigma for a long time. We were in Dive for a long time. And I think that was the problem with Dive. I don't think people were moaning about Dive being... Well, Dive was OP because it was the meta, let's be honest. But they weren't moaning about Dive being poor to play or anything like that. Dive was actually one of the most exciting metas to play and one of the most skillful metas to play. But because we were in it for so long, people got bored. People wanted a change. The problem is the devs responded in the wrong way. They introduced Brigitte, and Jeff himself has said this. They won't do this again. They won't bring in a hero just to change a meta. Because, yeah, Brigitte, and look how that ended up. So let's not do that again. I completely agree with Jeff and the Overwatch team for doing that, because that's something we really don't need. But hero pulls and fast balance updates, which is what Overwatch and Jeff Kaplan promised in the latest developer update, which was released at the end of January, is something that will keep us fresh. It will keep everything moving. Not just Overwatch, Overwatch League, Overwatch Contenders, Open Division, all the Overwatch esports. It'll keep moving. Because Open Division is played on a live patch, right? So the latest Open Division China results were covered over patch 1.42 to 1.44 because it was done over December and January. So they were just right in the firing line of these new patches. So it just messed with the entire thing. Not necessarily in a bad way though. It was really good. And this is what we will see in the future with Overwatch League. It's going to make things really interesting, and I think it might make the league closer actually, because it's going to make things much less clear-cut, much less, well, the Shock are playing this, well, let's take 2019 for example. We're running GOATs, Vancouver are running GOATs, Vancouver are going to win their games because they're running GOATs, move on, next game. That won't necessarily happen now, because from week to week you don't necessarily know what the meta is going to be. There won't really be a meta because it won't be possible to basically develop a meta in time for the weekend once you've got this new update with the hero bans. So that's really interesting. But going back to the live servers, it's what competitive's needed. Competitive gets boring. Competitive gets repetitive. Competitive gets repetitive. Yeah, that sounds so weird to me. But it does. It gets really repetitive playing competitive. So to freshen it up, and I don't know whether every week is right for a change of hero pool. I think that might be too frequent. But again, that's something that they're willing to test. And that's another thing where the Overwatch team seem to have changed their philosophy. A lot of the time we speculated, especially back during like Brigitte and before that, we speculated that the devs were very reluctant to change things back to the way they were. And it was hurting the game. And in some respects, that's what can contribute to power creep and stuff like that. I really don't think power creep is a problem in Overwatch anymore. With the recent stuff that's been going on, power creep has been nullified in some respects. Because they're drawing back Mei, they're drawing back Reaper, they're drawing back Sigma, they're drawing back Orisa. The Sigma is a bit of a unique case, but Orisa, Reaper, Mei, they were big parts of what was alarming me with power creep, because they were heroes that were constantly buffed in other metas and never reverted when it didn't work. And that is basically what power creep is in respects. So I think the Overwatch team is doing a fantastic job of halting power creep right now, which is really, really good. Obviously, we don't want to see power creep. We don't want to see... For goodness sake, people don't, most of the time, like one-shot kills. The only one-shot kill I really, don't have a problem with is when Widow kills me, as long as I'm not a tank. So, because Widow is a sniper, Widow's going to take your head off. If you moan about Widow being OP because she can one-shot kill, you need to look at your positioning. Because very often, if you know you're playing against a Widow, your positioning should be correct enough that you don't give the Widow a sightline of your brain. If you know who I'm talking about, just let me know in the comments. There is a certain person, high profile in this community, that I'm talking about. Anyway, I think this really has been a turning point for the Overwatch devs. Hero pools, the increase in patches and the frequency of patches, and their whole philosophy of the thing that they are not adverse to rolling back something that hasn't worked. For example, they were testing changes to roll lock because they realized that the DPS queues weren't working. They were causing problems in the tank category. And they still are. But they realized that this problem would not be solved by what was coined the 3-2-1 comp, the 3 DPS, the 2 supports and 1 tank. I completely agree, that wouldn't work either. 1 tank, you're asking for trouble. So now they're looking at hero pools and they're saying, well, Season 21, we'll try this every week. We will change the hero pool. We will keep things fresh. If it's too often, we'll change it. We'll do it every 2 weeks. We'll do it every month. We'll do it every patch. Whatever. Or, if hero pools don't work at all, we'll remove hero pools and we'll go back to the old way and we'll find another solution. And that is what we want. We want communication, and we want devs that are not afraid to listen and not afraid to turn back the clock and revert changes that didn't work. Because that's what's going to be great about if the devs go down this route. The devs will be so much more reactive to stuff going on, and I think that's the best thing for it. And the best thing for this whole community, and I always say this during these videos, is to be reciprocating to what the devs are doing. Don't just bash them. Don't just constantly bash them over their head with a mallet, because you're not going to get anywhere. I see the forums. I see some of the craziest recommendations and requests. And it's like, what planet are you living on? What planet are you living on where you're saying that Moira needs to be buffed? She really doesn't. I've seen so many crazy stuff on the forums that it just baffles me. And it's completely unhelpful to the devs. Let's give them constructive feedback, not hate. Let's be constructive. Let's make this game a better game than it is right now. And hopefully, Overwatch can have a renaissance just before Overwatch 2 comes about. Because I am so looking forward to Overwatch 2. I keep saying this, but it's Overwatch 2 goes to my roots of gaming, PvE, and I can't wait to play it. I am so hyped for it. Unfortunately, I think the way the devs are talking at the moment, I don't think it's going to be until 2021. But I am so looking forward to Overwatch 2. But, for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.